What is up, farming family? How y'all doing today? Today, we are talking about probably the most anticipated paddle in pickleball for like the last year and a half to 2 years. There have been rumors of this coming out, a foam paddle, pure foam through the core. It's finally here. It's Carbon's Genesis TruFoam series. There's the 1, the 2, and the 3. The 1 has a regular 5.5-inch handle. The 2 is a standard shape, and the 3 is an elongated that has a shorter handle and a bigger paddle head. I do have a discount with this company. It's Farmer. If you use that at checkout, you will get 10% off. I get a kickback from that. Thought I should let you know that. I always do, just for the sake of being clear and clarity on this channel. I don't want to, trick y'all into using codes or anything. I want y'all to know what's happening. But yeah, something about these paddles, there's no polypropylene anywhere in the core. This is a foam that Carbon has that they literally are just pumping full through the middle of the paddle. It makes the paddle play completely different. I'm going to get to that when it comes to the spin and the pop and the power. It's a very unique paddle that feels way different than anything that I've ever played with. But yeah, let's get into this review, y'all. Hope you've been doing good. All right, so I kind of was in a position where I was like, how am I going to talk about each of these three paddles? They're technically Gen 3 paddles because they're foam filled, but they don't have the same playability as some of the other Gen 3s that are currently on the market. So what I'm going to do is talk about them as a whole. If you're wanting a Gen 3 style pop and power that is crazy through the roof, this isn't going to be a paddle for you. This is not like the Ripple, the Mod, and the Gearbox. Not like them at all. It does not have the power and pop that they have. What I would classify it as being right there with the 14 millimeter TKOC in terms of pop. Paddle's not going to be stiff, launching the ball off the face really quick or anything like that. The ball sits on the face a decent amount of time, but pop-wise, I would definitely consider it very close to the TKOC. So lower end power range and pop range when it comes to a Gen 3 paddle. Now, when it comes to the power, the same can be said for the power. It doesn't quite have the power that the Ripple and the Mod and the Gearbox has, but the Carbon 1 and the Carbon 3 are very similar in power compared to the TKOC series. Then when you get to the 2, it is very comparable to the 14 millimeter ESQC from PaddleTech as well. That's mostly what you're going to be comparing these two, with a very, very different feel off the face. Now, when it comes to control, is this one of the more controllable Gen 3 paddles on the market? Yeah, easily. If you switch from this Ripple, you're going to be getting your dinks and your resets in with this. With a Ripple, you're going to be launching it. This is definitely more controllable than them, but I'm not going to front with you and act like this is going to be, the most controllable paddle ever. Most of the Gen 2s are going to be a little bit more controllable than this, but if you're wanting something that bridges the gap between Gen 2 and the Ripple, this would probably be a good option in terms of control. Just know it's going to take a little bit to get used to the foam and how the paddle feels off the face. When it came to the RPMs, the Carbon 1 TruFoam got 2,205. The Carbon 2 TruFoam got 2,223. And the 3 got 2,186. Okay, if you notice, the numbers are a little bit higher than all the other paddles that I've reviewed so far. The way I'm playing and when I'm watching it, I can definitely tell the ball dips a little bit more than some of the paddles that are in the 1,800, 1,900 range. But like I said before, most paddles, you're going to get enough dip that it's not really going to matter. Now, a lot of people are being like, oh, the dwell time is increasing the spin, which based off my numbers, it might have a little bit. But realistically, what I think that extra dwell time that this paddle's giving you compared to other Gen 3s and some of the other Gen 2 paddles on the market is your ability to carry the ball over the net. Like, let's say the net's here and the ball is here. Some paddles, as soon as the ball hits the paddle face, it flicks off, so it hit the top of the net. With this paddle, it gives you the sense of being able to hit it and carry it a little bit before it leaving the paddle face. So I don't think it's adding a lot or much spin at all, but it is allowing you to carry the ball higher up before it leaves the paddle face. So overall, that is one of the shining aspects of this paddle compared to like the Ripple, the Mod, and other paddles of similar nature. So let's get down to the swing weights. The Carbon 1 had a swing weight of 115. The Carbon 2 had a swing weight of 110. And the Carbon 3 had a swing weight of 120. Okay, The only one I felt like I really had trouble with swinging was the TruFoam 3. Okay, it was way more head heavy. I struggled a little bit when it came to getting the paddle around, when it came to hand battles and stuff like that. So overall, the swing weights on these aren't going to be really, really bad, but the Carbon 3 will definitely be too head heavy for most people. And it's got a shorter handle, so if you like two-hand backhand, I would definitely skip on that. And when it came to the overall weights of these paddles, the Carbon 2 weighed 8.2 ounces, the Carbon 1 weighed 8.2 ounces, and the Carbon 3 weighed 8.35 ounces. And when it came to the balance point, the 1 had a 242 millimeter balance point, the 2 had a 236 millimeter balance point, and the 3 had a 241 millimeter balance point. The 3 feels very head heavy when you're playing with it, very head heavy. It took some time to get used to, but just know that'll probably be the one that a lot of people will skip, even though in my opinion, that is probably the second best one behind the 2 shape. All right, when it came to the twist weights, the twist weight of the Carbon 1 had a 5.48 twist weight, the Carbon 2 had a 6.75 twist weight, and the Carbon 3 TruFoam had a 6.33 twist weight. Okay, when it comes to all these paddles, the Carbon 2 and the Carbon 3 have literally what you would expect for a twist weight in terms of the elongated and in terms of the standard shape paddles. The Carbon 1 had a awful twist weight. Me and a couple other people I played with noticed it twisting in our hands. So even though the swing weight's lower on it, you're going to have to add lead tape to make up for this really bad twist weight that this paddle has. And when it comes to the sweet spot of this paddle, the first time I played with these paddles, they felt very unique and different compared to what I normally play with. But the more that I play with it, I feel that the 2 and the 3 have really, really good sweet spots. But on the 1, if you hit the sweet spot perfectly, it comes off the paddle fast. But if you hit even slightly off that sweet spot, the ball is going to die. I'm not a big fan of the Carbon 1 TruFoam with this paddle. I would go for the 2 or the 3 if I was going to get one realistically. Okay, this is the real kicker, right? All these Gen 3 paddles are through the roof. If you're wanting a Gen 3 paddle, more than likely you're going to have to pay Gen 3 prices, which is like 240 plus. That's what's happening with the current paddle market. Me, realistically, that is a lot of money to spend on a paddle. Is this paddle worth it? It really depends. If you're wanting a Gen 3 paddle, but you're not wanting something you can just rip into people's eyes, like the Ripple, the Mod, and the Gearbox paddle, but you're still wanting some power, I would go with this. If you're wanting something that adds a little bit extra spin and extra dwell time, this paddle would be for you. I'm in a position now where I used to not recommend paddles that were under $200, but we're at that point where all these Gen 3s are over $200, like guaranteed, basically. So it's going to be up to the viewer to decide if it's going to be worth it. If I had the money, would I spend it on these paddles? Yes. Are they my favorite power paddles on the market? Not at all. But really, really good quality by Carbon. And I know Carbon is crazy good with their warranties and returns and stuff like that when it comes to problems. So that's always a big positive when it comes to companies like this. But if you played with the TruFoam, you got to comment down below. Let me know what you thought about him. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, the sweet spot on the 1 is too small. Or they should, because that is literally what I felt. If I'm the only one that feels that way, I will put my foot in my mouth next video. But yeah, until next time, stay safe. Have a good day. Drink plenty of water, y'all. Peace.
Like and subscribe.